Story we have been following all day for you, a police shooting in Ansonia. It happened this morning just after 7 a.m. Police say two men ran up to an officer's cruiser for help, but before the officer could do anything, one of the men pulled out a gun and fired shots at a car driving by. The officer fired at the shooter, striking his leg. He was sent to the hospital, but is expected to be okay. The other person was arrested.
Transgender athletes here in Connecticut can continue to compete. A federal judge dismissed a lawsuit against Connecticut's policy because two transgender athletes at the center of that case have since graduated. But is the fight really settled? Is it over? Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Mike Savino is joining us live right now from East Hartford with more on this. And Mike, what are you learning right now?
Well, Mark, the CIAC is celebrating this ruling as a victory, and as you mentioned, they will continue with their policy allowing transgender athletes to compete based on their gender identity. But the family that has, some of those families rather, that have been fighting this policy aren't going away.
It says in a way that trans kids' lives are not a game, and they can't be used to kind of score political points.
A federal judge Sunday dismissed a lawsuit seeking to keep transgender athletes out of girls' high school sports. The lawsuit challenged a Connecticut interscholastic athletic conference policy allowing two transgender athletes to compete in girls' track. The head of the CIAC, which oversees scholastic sports in Connecticut, said in a statement, "The CIAC continues to welcome and support inclusive education-based athletic participation, including by transgender students, in accordance with its mission to promote meaningful participation in high school sports activities for all student athletes." The ACLU of Connecticut represented the two transgender girls named as defendants in the lawsuit.
Frankly, Connecticut had this right a long time ago.
District of Connecticut Judge Robert Chatigny did not weigh in on the policy, though. He said the issue was moot because the two defendants graduated and only two of the four plaintiffs are still in high school. There is no indication that the girls will encounter competition by a transgender student in a CIAC-sponsored event next season. Defendants' counsel have represented that they know of no transgender student who will be participating in girls' track at that time. The Alliance Defending Freedom represented the plaintiffs and plans to appeal.
I think it's very disappointing that the federal court refused to even consider the merits of the case.
Christy Mitchell says the lawsuit was not about her daughter Chelsea's track career. She says it was to prevent transgender athletes from competing with girls.
One of the reasons they filed the lawsuit was to change the policy, was to effect change for the future.
According to the Associated Press, at least 20 states around the country have lawmakers submitting legislation that would seek to ban transgender athletes from participating in girls' sports. Alabama's Republican governor recently signed theirs into law, but in some states, lawmakers are running into opposition from Democrats. Live from the mobile newsroom, Mike Savino, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.